British Airways Boeing 747 flew its last in December of 2020. Hastily removed from service and retired without the send-off they deserved, COVID proved the final nail in the coffin for these once iconic machines. This was the same fate as countless other aircraft across the world at the time, with many being scrapped and recycled for their metal and other valuable materials. Nearly all that were scrapped received this fate, nearly all except for the one that we are visiting today. Found roughly midway between Crewe and Chester in the north of England is a venue called 744 Experience. This is one of the few places in the world where the public can go and fly a fully working Boeing 747 simulator in an actual former Boeing 747. The venue for this experience is in the top deck of two former British Airways Boeing 747-400s, with the cockpit of GCIVM and the top deck of the former GBYGG. Complete with these two sections, this experience allows everyone from newcomers to aviation, to former flight crew, or those who are looking for an alternative and exciting day out, the chance to glimpse at what flight used to be like, and to give flying a go themselves. 744 Experience is run by a small team who are truly passionate about the British Airways Boeing 747 and are keen to continue its legacy in a way that's both accessible to you and I and almost unprecedented in its level of preservation. Their backgrounds range from the aerospace industry to displaying passion through having decades of experience in their own home simulators, leading to a product that is as faithful as it gets to an onboard experience, or indeed being behind the controls. What sets 744 Experience apart from others offering a similar service is the fact that it's a 747 simulator, compared to other more common 737 or A320 simulators, but also its level of faithfulness to the 747 itself. 744 Experience has committed themselves to ensuring that everything from the primary flight displays to individual circuit breakers, warning lights and cockpit noises are all functional and faithful to the original aircraft. The controls are as sensitive as the real aircraft was, despite the fact that it's not a full motion simulator. A customer can barely tell that they're standing still while piloting themselves across the world. The entire cockpit is functional as it was before, as is the cabin. The upper deck too is fully functional, with only the in-flight entertainment being unavailable to customers. This means that customers can feel at home in a fully functional lie-flat seat and enjoy the flight, but more on that later. The cockpit section is from the former GCIVM, or Victor Mike for short. This was a 22-year-old Boeing 747-400 delivered new to British Airways on the 5th of June 1997. This was the last 747 to be retired by British Airways before the fleet's immediate withdrawal in the second half of 2020, with Victor Mike leaving the fleet on the 17th of March 2020. The top deck fuselage section is from GBYGG, or Golf for short. This aircraft joined the fleet on the 16th of April 1999 and was the final Boeing 747 British Airways ever took delivery of. Like Victor Mike before it too spent its entire career with the company and was retired to MOD St Athan in South Wales on the 23rd of November 2020 after 21 years of service. It is also understood that this was the last British Airways Boeing 747 to ever operate the New York to London service before the type's retirement, a route which made the 747 so iconic. The two sections were purchased by 744 Experience in late 2020 from E-Cube Solutions, an aircraft recycling company based at MOD St Athan, and were attached together following transportation. Much of the onboard equipment, mainly flight instruments and cabin furniture, were procured from Air Salvage International, based at Kemble Cotswold Airport, where a number of other British Airways 747s had been retired to. The reason for these sections being from two separate aircraft was that the cockpit of Golf had been largely gutted for parts, which are very valuable and highly sought after by airlines to keep their remaining fleet of 747s still airworthy. However, the cockpit of Victor Mike was largely intact. These sections arrived at the 744 Experience's facility in Cheshire on the 17th of July 2021, and work began straight away to get the experience ready. 744 Experience officially opened its doors to the public on the 16th of March 2024. The 744 Experience is located close to the village of Beeston in Cheshire and holds a view of the old Beeston Castle, a popular VFR waypoint for light aircraft. It can be found about 40 minutes away from the towns of Crewe and Chester. The location itself is fairly unassuming, sharing a site with a horse paddocks. The experience is located in a green barn beyond the paddocks with a small sign saying 744 Experience on it. Upon opening the door, you're transported into a completely different world. Customers are instantly greeted with the upper deck of a 747, rarely seen up close in this way before. Upon entering and going further into the barn, you can get an appreciation for just how much has gone into the making of this experience. The walls are tastefully decorated with tributes to the flying experience, such as a departure board, a Rolls-Royce RB211 engine inlet, an economy class seating row next to a small kitchen, and more unexpected details beyond that. Towards the far corner you will see a screen showing every British Airways Boeing 747-400 over the years, and an unexpected detail, a 747 nose landing gear at the back of the building. This gives a sense that this experience is one that has had an immense amount of care taken over it to stand out above all else, and gives a perspective of the aircraft's actual size. Once a small talk by your tour guide has been carried out, it's time to board. The boarding stairs are located at the back of the cabin, and as well as stairs, a lift for those with difficulty walking is also available, arguably making this one of the only step-free 747s in the world. Once on board, you are greeted with the complete upper deck, with British Airways boarding music playing and all 20 business class seats still functioning. These seats are complete with cushions, headrest covers, and even the British Airways in-flight magazine High Life from when the 747 last flew passengers in March 2020. These seats are still fully reclinable, and a panoramic view of central London can be seen from the right-hand side. Even when standing still, it's very easy to believe that you're in flight. The passenger cabin is far from a wasted space, with it being a time capsule showing the very end of this once iconic airliner. Now on land, this space can be surprisingly flexible for groups of passengers. But this experience isn't just about the cabin or the feel of what flight used to be like. At the end of the cabin, there's a small door behind which lies the star attraction. To all the non-pilots out there, you may have sat in the cockpit of a plane before, and maybe sat in the pilot's seat, wearing the hat and getting an excited feeling about sitting somewhere important. With this experience though, it's a little bit different. It's different because you don't just get to sit in the seat and wear the hat. Here you get to sit in the seat at the end of the runway, open the throttles and go anywhere in the world. On my visit, we did the traditional run from London Heathrow, taking off for roughly midday on runway 27 right. After takeoff, we zipped across the Atlantic before making a stunning sunset arrival into New York JFK's runway 13 left, taking the Canarsie final approach, even catching a little glimpse of Manhattan on the way down.
Caution, terrain. Caution, terrain.
The simulator itself uses a panoramic 180-degree projection, allowing you to look out through both sides as well as just in front, providing a fully immersive experience. The professional flight simulator software they use is AeroWinx PSX, and is approved by the American Federal Aviation Administration, as well as a number of airlines for their flight training purposes, including the training of pilots and engineers for the Boeing 747. In terms of the cockpit experience, the sheer level of detail is immense, with nothing left to the imagination. 744 Experience creates an experience even comparable with professional flight simulators, with every instrument, knob, light, switch, lever and flight display all working, sparing no detail. As such, 744 Experience can even be used as an alternative training device by training and serving 747 flight crews wishing to gain some extra practice. They can provide any runway in the world, from the long-gone Kai Tak to the remote runways of the South Pacific and everything in between. One very immersive flexibility of 744 Experience is its ability to perform most emergency situations, ranging from engine failures to loss of hydraulic pressure and more. In the cockpit is the flight manuals and the quick reference handbook, allowing you to try and rectify the problem yourself, or indeed have the problem talked through with your guide, who will also be in the cockpit. From this, it's clear that 744 Experience is open to a wide range of people with all levels of flying experience. Despite the few weeks 744 Experience has been open, reviews have been glowing, largely from the former British Airways 747 community. With so few reviews so far, 744 Experience's praises couldn't be sung louder than by those who once flew it to the far corners of the world. But customers are not limited to former 747 flight crew, with normal customers having driven hundreds of miles just to visit, arguably highlighting how sought after the simulator actually is. 744 Experience aims to attract anyone with an interest in aviation, or indeed anyone who's just curious to try something new, from all backgrounds, regardless of experience. In terms of current offerings, 744 Experience offers two similar short-haul products, a 90-minute slot and a 150-minute slot. Prices range from £199 to £299, or $250 to $375. Included is a briefing, a cabin tour, and of course, as long as you can manage in the simulator itself. A longer, so-called long-haul simulator experience of 3 hours or more is also available, but this must be arranged by contacting 744 Experience directly. There are many public simulators out there, and many offering similar products as 744 Experience, but few, if any, emulate the 747 in such a faithful way as the one we have just seen. 744 Experience has already proven itself to be flexible in terms of clientele, with enthusiasts, curious people and former flight crew all coming from far and wide, and even serving flight crew using it as a training tool. A visit here is an assurance of smiles all round and an unforgettable day out. And with plans to expand into more than just flying in the future, 744 Experience is on a trajectory to enter new markets and expand their portfolio. Of the handful of preserved British Airways Boeing 747s, this is arguably one of the only ones, if not the only one, that's able to replicate it in its full former glory. While it will forever be grounded, it's far from just a static display that welcomes people for tours, nor were shortcuts made in order to get the simulator up and running. And as such, 744 Experience stands out as one of the best places to still experience the Queen of the Skies at your fingertips.